For decades, sightings of UFOs have remained among the most unexplained mysteries of our time. So are aliens among us, or is the government using aerial intelligence to spy on foreign adversaries? Now, the Pentagon's new Office for Investigating Potential UFO Sightings received hundreds, that's right, hundreds of new reports in 2022. And get this, the U.S. government can't explain all of them. Tonight, we break down the mystery with a prominent lawmaker alleging a huge UFO cover-up in the U.S. government. I'm your host, Jenn Pellegrino. America, your Prime News starts now. Topping tonight's Prime News, almost 80 years later, and UFOs still remain a national mystery. The most famous UFO sighting had occurred in the summer of 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. At the time, the U.S. was in the early stages of the Cold War, with fears of nuclear warfare with the Soviet Union. It is in this Cold War context that the unidentified flying object, the UFO, is truly born. It was a rancher known as Mac Brazel found something odd on his property, believing it was remnants of a UFO. He brought it to the attention of the Roswell sheriff and a nearby military base. Now, almost immediately, the Army Air Forces sent out a shocking press release announcing they recovered a flying saucer, although they quickly changed tune and called the object nothing more than a weather balloon, and the public speculation at this point already running wild. And the rest is history. This incident gave rise to the idea that Roswell was the site of an alien crash landing, that life exists on other planets, and that high levels of government were orchestrating a massive cover-up. But what many don't know is that 2 years prior, a similar incident ensued, also in New Mexico. This in 1945, the year of the atomic bomb. Around the same time, the U.S. was working on detonating the first atomic weapon. An arguably more significant UFO sighting took place in a patch of New Mexico desert now known as the Trinity site. Now, witnesses on the ground, they claim they saw an avocado-shaped object crash into a communications tower with beings inside, they said. The wreckage was quickly swept up. It was removed by so-called government officials. Now, no further explanation has been given about what happened that day since. Experts have dubbed this incident the Roswell before Roswell. What's important to understand is that over the past 75 years, the military has gathered evidence on a remarkable amount of unexplained aerial phenomenon, many of which were spotted around U.S. military bases, missile sites, aircraft, ships, nuclear power plants, and almost always the technology is described as something never before seen to humans. And yet for over 75 years, the public has been shut out for answers on what these unexplained sightings really are. Virtually everything we know about these sightings come from whistleblowers. The U.S. government remains eerily tight-lipped. A bombshell 2020 documentary called The Phenomenon aimed to unmask the ulterior motives behind the government's mysterious confidentiality. Lawmakers and former DoD officials alike calling for clarity.
We need to accept that we are not alone in the universe.
The federal government, all these years, has covered up everything. It's very, very bad for our country.
There have been visitation, crashed craft, material recovered.
It was not anything from this earth. All I could do is keep a mouth shut.
Declassified government documents confirm ongoing UFO incursions at nuclear weapons sites.
Are you saying that there's some evidence that still hasn't seen the light of day?
I'm saying most of it hasn't seen the light of day.
These things are real. They're here. This is happening now.
Now, the 1945 incident in particular is being brought back into question thanks to an amendment tucked into this year's $858 billion defense spending bill, which requires the Pentagon to review historical documents relating to UFOs dating back to 1945, a.k.a. the Roswell before Roswell incident. Now, if the Pentagon complies, this could be a game changer for studying unidentified phenomena. And there's two sides to this story. One side arguing that UFO documents should remain classified for the sake of protecting intelligence that could tip off any foreign bad actors or create public panic. The other side is that the public deserves transparency. Now, should we be concerned about what is being hidden? Are we really to believe that the most sophisticated military in the world is completely baffled by what these objects are? For starters, the UFOs have often interfered with our nuclear weapons capabilities. What is the nuclear connection here, and could it pose a danger to the American public? A new U.S. intel report claims that UFO sightings have surged over just the last 2 years. The Defense Department's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office received hundreds of reports in 2022. 2022 alone. While the office claims it can explain more than half of those events, a large amount, some 171 cases, remain a mystery. In addition, the addition of this amendment to investigate UFO documents is no small thing. Lawmakers must really believe something fishy is going on, or they wouldn't have attached it to the defense spending bill. Whether we finally get answers after nearly 80 years of secrecy remains the question. And at the forefront of these calls for transparency is one congressman who alleges that a massive UFO cover-up is happening at the highest levels of government. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett is here with us tonight. Congressman, welcome. Great to see you, as always. So this latest report acknowledges over 500 unidentified aerial phenomena, also claiming that the majority of new sightings come from American military personnel like our Navy and our Air Force. What do you make of this report?
Well, first of all, I would ask everybody to say a prayer for my buddy Greg Stubbe, congressman from Florida, took a bad fall tonight, and I talked to his wife, and he's expected to make a full recovery. But I think it's a complete cover-up. If you go to the second Roswell incident that you alluded to, they first came out and said a saucer has been recovered. The military comes out, the press comes out. The next day say, oh no, it's a balloon, it's a hot air balloon. This has been a cover-up from day one. It really boils down to arrogance and greed, the greed and arrogance of our military-industrial complex and people in Washington. I wouldn't trust them if they told me the sun was coming up tomorrow, dadgummit. They don't. The video that you're seeing right now, the famous Tic Tac video, is the one that people ought to be looking at. There's our best pilots in the world are the ones that you hear on the tape if you hear the audio to that, and they're describing something that we do not control. If it was a human being in there, they would literally turn into a ketchup package. I mean, our bodies are not designed to withstand the G-forces. We do not have the technology. There is not even a vapor trail following that. So this is something out of this world. This is a complete cover-up, and it has been from the beginning of this. And for whatever reason, it boils down to arrogance and greed. Currently, I believe a lot of it's out of our own hands, out of the government's hands, and some of the big international corporations have the material that is being described in this. And the people at the Pentagon are wringing their hands right now because this was leaked, this video, and that's the only reason we're talking about it, because this video the people are watching right now was leaked, and they claimed the military said it didn't exist. Washington said it didn't exist. It was a hoax. And lo and behold, guess what? They say now it exists. Now we're supposed to believe
now
them.
It exists.
Yeah, they got their hands caught in the cookie jar is what happened, ma'am. And the American public ought to be alarmed about that. We should talk to your Congress people. Say, hey, come forward with this stuff. We can handle it. This is ridiculous. This is the arrogance of power, and it needs to end today.
Well, I think we know, even in just the past week with what we've been watching with Document Gate, that transparency is certainly lacking with our federal government right now. Yeah. What are you hearing from your colleagues on this topic? Obviously, you in the House GOP, you have a lot you're investigating right now, but what are you hearing as far as their concerns with these sightings?
Well, I think the one concern we're having is there is actual military craft. I mean, there are craft in our military airspace that we do not control. And to me, that should be a very compelling reason to find out what the heck is going on, and the government needs to come forward and tell us what they know. And currently, they're not very forthcoming, ma'am. The so-called hearing they had in front of the Intelligence Committee that was the public we were allowed to see, it was a joke. The two people they put in charge of it, I'm sure they're patriotic, great Americans, but ma'am, they had no clue about anything. I was told I was going to be able to ask a question right up to the point I was getting ready to ask my question. I received a text and said, in fact, no, you will not be able to. One of the pilots who is on one of the videos was in the audience. They wouldn't let him come in, but he came in anyway. He had press credentials. Somebody gave him some press credentials, and he wasn't allowed to testify. So this is a cover-up. It needs to come to an end, and the arrogance needs to stop.
It sure does, Congressman. I don't have a lot of time left, but before we go, I want to ask you, there's now a spotlight on that 1945 New Mexico UFO incident. It's gone relatively under the radar in comparison to Roswell in 1947. Do you believe that this new amendment in the defense spending bill will force any new information that might clarify what happened that day?
Absolutely. Whistleblowers are coming forth, but the problem is when they come forward, is it in a classified briefing? And when Congress people like myself are briefed in a classified setting, it means they cannot comment on it. By law, they can be arrested for that. So I think the cover-up will continue. They're going to say they're moving ahead, but don't trust the government, ma'am. It's just, I mean, look at the Kennedy assassinations. They won't even let loose. When they do, they let loose a piece of paper. It looks like a piece of Swiss cheese. Who are they trying to protect? This is ridiculous, ma'am. This is classic Washington arrogance, and it needs to stop today. You need to demand from our leadership that it stops.
Well, we are doing that, and we're certainly going to have you back here to give us more information as you obtain it. Congressman Tim Burchett with a great backdrop there, by the way. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us tonight.
Those are some guns my dad brought back. He
That's right.
liberated in the Pacific.
Amazing.
Thank you, ma'am.
God bless
Yes,
him.
ma'am.
Love that.
Yes, ma'am. He was
All
great.
right, we'll see you soon, sir. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309, or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.